Cop's like, hey, you know, you guys okay? We're like, yeah, we're good. He's like, you been drinking? We're like, no, just fell asleep. And he goes, yeah. He's like, you know, you guys are lucky because we just put this embankment up last month because 2 kids around your same age fell asleep, went right off the cliff and died.
Oh,
Crazy shit, man.
yeah. That,
So,
you know, that brings
I've
back.
always felt lucky in my life.
Yeah, that brings back the San Gabriel Canyon. Now that I remember one time driving up there one afternoon to like meet the family, and I'm with my best buddy at the time, and we're coming down at 60 miles down Curvy Worlds, and I hit like a pile of rocks and spun out. And we're talking about like you go over the cliff. Luckily there was like rails, but I spun out so bad that I crashed the car on 3 sides. So then I get home and I park it, and they're like, dude, and you know I had a cute little sports car, you know, it was like a nice little sports car, and they're like, and I just walk in the house and you're not pissed off that you just fucked up your car, you know, you wrecked it, and I'm just like, nah, man, I just had a near-death experience, fucking all material out the door. I was like, I didn't give a shit about the car.
I'm glad I'm alive.
Yeah, I think that's what Twig was talking to me about after he saw his that car accident, motorcycle accident, how fragile life is.
Yeah.
You know, how any moment your whole life can change.
Well, that's why I always bring up being mindful, because 2 years ago I'm driving and I'm behind the car making a left turn, and the car in front of me gets head to head with a big ass SUV, so bad that the car piles up onto mine. Airbags come out, boom! I don't even know what hit me, and I look up and all I could see is this black girl on a cell phone. And I was like, oh, all right. And all of a sudden I see her kind of like pulling away, and I'm just like, oh, you fucking bitch, no way. I don't know where I summed up the, like, you know, like mustered up the strength, but I jumped out of the car, got the license plate, you know, and I gave it to the cops. They caught her. And
really?
The whole deal. Fuck yeah. That's how come I'm driving the car I have now, because, you know, they paid off the other car, and I had to go get a car, and I wasn't planning to get anything. But anyway, I ended up with the car.
Do you know what they charged her with?
She was uninsured, so my insurance company made me pay the deductible to replace my car. Yeah, she got 2 points charged, hit and run, and all that. Nobody fatally hurt or anything like that. But you know, I was thinking, what a ghetto. And the girl that they caught wasn't the owner of the car nor had insurance, and the girl that owned the car was uninsured. So, you know, my insurance company fed me back all this information, and I was like, just because of that, I have to pay my deductible.
You probably could have sued her.
Yeah, I could have sued her in a small claims court, but that doesn't take you really anywhere. I mean, you know, she's
more about the principle.
Oh yeah, but oh well, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, this guy was going to drive away from the accident. He was in the right lane right next to the motorcycle, and he had to slam on his brakes so that this Camry didn't hit him. And after he saw what actually happened, he's like, he lived like 2 miles away. And he's like, I got to go back. You know, so he flipped a bitch, came right back.
Yeah.
And...
oh, yeah. You know, that would have been like vehicular manslaughter right there.
Yeah.
Had he left the scene, you know, at least if he's there, you know, he could say, hey, you know, you prove that, or you justify that it was an accident. But if you leave the scene, you know, that's...
No, he wasn't involved in the accident.
Oh, somebody not involved in the accident?
Yeah. He was just...
his conscience got the best of him?
Yeah. He was there, saw what took place, knew what was happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I mean, it was crazy because... some of the northbound traffic, the accident was on the southbound side. Some of the northbound traffic, somebody flipped a bitch, and the motorcyclist ended up on the northbound side of the road. And so this person flipped a bitch and pulled in beside him to cut off traffic so he didn't get run over.
Yeah, to make sure nobody ran his ass over. Wow.
So...
you know, one time on the 91 freeway, I was just like, you know, zipping down the highway. There's just like 4 gangsters in a convertible, and you know, like they kind of like pull up next to my car, and they just look at me like, like sweet, you know. This was like 10 years ago. They're like, sweet car, you know, and they looked stoned to the bone. I mean, I'm talking about like you could see it in their eyes. These guys were stoned. If I was a cop, I would have pulled them over. Anyway, so then you know they just gun it and they go up ahead, and you know I kind of like all of a sudden their car loses control. All these cars start crashing. I'm going so fast, and I'm right in it. I'm turning left. Boom! I'm getting hit from one side. boom, I'm getting hit from like all kinds of sides. Like my car's just
What?
getting, like I could see in my rear view, like cars just crashing into like I'm barely getting out of this one. And I just go down the highway and I'm just like, damn. I was like, another one of these. My car's just like jacked the fuck up. Like, you know, like, because cars just crashing all over. I'm inside of there, you know, it's like a football game, whatever.
Yeah.
So I pull over to the side of the road, and this guy comes over, and he pulls over to the side of the road. He's like, dude, I saw what happened, man. And both of us we're going around my car. There's not one fucking scratch. That day I felt like Jesus walking on water. I was like, are you
What?
kidding? There wasn't one fucking scratch on my car. I could have sworn cars were just crashing in and out of me, and I was barely getting out of there, you know, like, because I was turning this way, turning that way. I mean, it was insane.
Going with the
Not
force
once.
of the crashes.
Yeah, with the force, and I could feel all the cars just boom, boom, boom. I don't know how the hell, not one scratch, nothing.
Crazy, dude.
That was-
Man, that's why
insane.
Sugar Ray Leonard's so pretty after all these years, man. That was his defensive technique. He would go with the punch so he wouldn't take the full impact.
Right, he wouldn't. Oh, that's right. Don't butt your head against it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. Yeah, I rear-ended this fucking truck one time, just messing with the radio. I looked
And
down
the
for
driver
a couple
driving in.
seconds, and it was bumper to bumper traffic, so we weren't going that fast, you know. But they were moving along about 25, 30, right off the freeway exit, and something happened up ahead of me in the traffic. This truck slammed on his brakes because he saw something going on. And I couldn't make it. I slammed my brakes on and went right underneath this truck. Put a big
Damn.
4 to 5 foot line in my hood of my car, and it was my first accident with another car. I had the
Truck,
whole
you mean?
Montana thing, but I felt like such an asshole. I felt so stupid.
Yeah, that's why never tailgate. Never tailgate. The only person that's not responsible for a rear end is the last person that gets hit. You know what I mean? The one at the front of the line. I learned that from traffic school like 2 weeks ago.
What if you're just sitting there though, at a stoplight, and someone hits you, then you hit someone else? You're responsible for the person in front of you.
Even because you can't. You're not supposed to pull in that close.
Yeah.
What?
You're supposed to be able to see the back of their tires. Now,
The bottom of their tires.
If the impact was unreasonable, you know, a car hits you from the
Right.
back 50 miles per hour.
Yeah, if you're
but just the
stationary.
rear end, no. Everybody behind that initial driver or the one in front, you're all paying for, or you're all getting a rear end. In other words, you're getting cited, whatever, you know.
That's
Your
bullshit.
insurance is
That's-
paying for it.
That takes me back to an accident I was in high school. One of my good friends had just gotten his license, and we always cruised basically around the corner to this Wiener Schnitzel on Sepulveda, and we were riding our bikes, and we're like, "Where are you going?" And he's like, "I'm going to Wiener Schnitzel." We're like, "Dude, let us get a ride." And he's like, "Okay." And he had like 3 other guys in the car. So we got in the car, and my friend was like, "Dude, buckle up. He just got his license," you know, making fun of him and shit. And I was like, "Okay, whatever." And then we started going down the street, and he's like, "No, dude, for real, fucking put on your seatbelt, man." And I'm like, "Oh, all right." So I reach for the seatbelt, and we're getting up to about 40, 45 miles an hour. And all of a sudden, I'm like, I see this car stopped in front of us. And I'm like, does he see it? Does he see it? And right as I realized he doesn't see it, he's not fucking
Holy
around with
fucking
us. You know, I
cow.
thought he was playing a game, like fucking speeding up, and then he's going to slam on the brakes and be like, "See, I told you to put your seatbelt on." I was like, "Dude, do you see the car?" And he looks up, and he's like, "Fuck." And he slams on his brake, and just like you said, there was a truck, an old Chevy truck, you know, one of the bigger, higher ones, 2 cars in front of us, and right in front of us was a Mazda Miata. And I swear, dude, the Mazda Miata went under the tailgate of the truck, picked the back wheels of the truck up off the ground.
That's what I did.
And I was like, what the fuck, man? I'm like, did this really just happen? You know, that's the first thought when anything like that happens. You're like,
Yeah, because it's just, it's not realistic. It's,
Yeah.
you're like,
it's
the
like,
fuck?
what the fuck just happened?
Well,
you know?
When I got in that accident in Montana, it was slow motion. Like, time just slowed
Oh, you had that.
the fuck
yeah,
down.
you had that.
And I know when you saw that motorcycle accident, this last weekend, you said you saw snapshot.